So on Yud Beis Amud Aleph, you got the Tosfos here, Be'ezah Yom. So going through the Edim, the Hekiras, the Drishas. Tema Kevin de Kavar Kavano Yom Echod L'Chodesh. You've already said the first day. So this is going on the Hekiras and the Drishas. So the Gemara here. Tanan Hayu Boitken Oisoi B'Sheva Hekiras. The difference between Hekiras and Bedikus is that basically you need to know the Hekiras. If you don't have the Hekiras, then there's no Adus, because the Hekiras you can do Imanu Hayisem. So you need to do the Hekiras in order for there to be Adus B'Chlal, but the Bedikus you don't need to know. So what are the seven? Be'ezah Shavua, which Shemitah you're in. Be'ezah Shana, Be'ezah Chodesh, it's 3. What days? Be'ezah, which day and what time and what place. So you have to say that. So that's basically is the time and the place, because the Imanu Hayisem is that you were with us at a different time and a different place. So, ma bein chakiros lebedikus, chakiros amar echad mehen ena yodu edus and betela. If you don't know one of the chakiros, then the whole thing is bottle, because you can't do imanu hayisem. Bedikus afilu shnei himar remain on yom edus and kamis. It's still good edus. So you say, what color was the killer wearing? What color jacket was the killer wearing? Don't know. What color hair did he wear? Don't know. So, if you don't know the bedikus, you're okay, but the chakiros you don't. So toises here be'ezah yom. So you've both already said here, you've said it's the third Be'ezah Chodesh, you say it's Nisan, or you say it's Iyar, but Kama B'Chodesh. So today is the Yud Dalid, right? It's not the 15th, even though it's Pesach Sheni, it's Yud Dalid. So once you say Yud Dalid, Be'ezah Yom, everyone knows the Yud Dalid of Iyar is on Monday. So now, Kevin to Kavar Kivano Yom Echad L'Chodesh, why ask them which day? Because even if they weren't kavanah when Ezeh Yom, it's hozer umagid. Because even if they say, so this is saying like this, that even if you say a different day, you've already said it's on. So if I say it's on the Yud Dalet of Iyar, then I say it's on a Wednesday. So I've already said it's on a Monday. Therefore, I can't. Now Wednesday will be the 16th. So I've changed my edus. Since I'm changed my edus, it's hozer umagid. Ve'ein yicholi lachzor bahen. Acher Kedei Dibur. So Tosfos is saying that Toch Kedei Dibur is your Adus. And then once you've said your Toch Kedei Dibur, you can't be hozer your Adus. Okay, so it's clear in the Tosfos that this whole din of Eina hozer umagid is Toch Kedei Dibur. Now I would think, if we have a look at the Rambam, Rambam says, Lo yitan adam kol mikna malei shemen al pi haner. This is probably the wrong Rambam. So Rambam, Edus 3:5, kol ad shenechrukra edus ho. Everything until you do the chekira on the Edus and based in. Ben b'dimos, ben b'nefashos, ein yichol lachzer bo. So here the Rambam is saying, until you do the whole hekira of the Edus and based in, so the whole time you're giving your edus, you can be hozer, according to the Rambam. Ein yichol lachzer bo. You can't do a retraction of it. Keitzed Amar Muata Haiti Shegig Saiti. I was afraid to do it. You don't listen to him, even if he gives a time. So you're in Beis Din, and once you give your edus and the Beis Din is finished with your edus, so then you can't be chayzer. You can't say, oh, I forgot something or I didn't. You can't add anything. So again, you can't add anything because your edus is already given. So if there's a tanai who tries to bottle, it doesn't. So it's during the time of the chekira in the edus, then it's you can be hozer magid. But once the chekira is done, then you can't be hozer magid. So here we have a clear machlokas between Rashi and between Tosfos and the Rambam as to when is the Isser of hozer magid. So Tosfos is saying that once it's b'toch kedei dibur, b'yom echad kedei dibur, but behem lachalachzer behem acher kedei dibur. So once you're acher kedei dibur, then you can't be hozer. Once you say it in Beis Din, that's in Beis Din, and now you can't be chayzer. Tosfos again Tosfos is saying be'ezeh yom, on which day. So we're betoch the chekira here, the 7 chekiras. What shavua, what shana, be'ezeh chodesh, be'kama chodesh, ezeh yom, be'ezeh shah, be'ezeh mokum. So here be'ezeh yom This is in the middle of the Chakiras. We haven't finished the Chakiras yet. And yet Tosfos has already said that it's called hozer umagid. So the Rambam here is saying, no, this isn't called hozer umagid, because you have to wait till all the end of the Chakira. Once we finish the Chakiras, that is then going to be hozer umagid, but until that point it's not hozer umagid. Therefore it's a Machlokas Rambam and Tosfos. So according to the Rambam, we don't have Tosfos' question, it's not hozer umagid. But let's see what's the answer. V'yesh loymar keven design Chakiras yofina mikro, since you learn them out from the pasuk. They can't be any kachasha. They can't deny each other, contradict each other. They can't contradict itself, contradict themselves. So they're seemingly that it's not a din of hozer umagid. If there is a kichesha, that it's a gezeres of pasuk that they can't do that because you need all 7 of them, and even if they are hozer umagid, it's not the hozer umagid. There's a din of there's a pasul in the pasuk because they were contradicting themselves. Inami nafkamina le'echad omer bebeis b'chodesh ve'echad omer begimel, as I've explained, since we had that before. The one said beis, one said gimel, and then they are kaven to one day out. Tosfos actually says that roiv people are make a mistake in the chodesh. Then if you saw that in Tosfos. So here on Yod Aleph on the base, Tosfos says the ruva toyi be'ibura de yarcha. Says most people make a mistake in the Ibur of the month. So sometimes the month is 29 days, sometimes the month is 30 days, and Tosfos says, Ruba toy, roiv, people make a mistake in that. Technically, it's impossible for most people to make a mistake in the month. Because it's either 29 or it's 30. Just you flip a coin, 50% are going to get it right, 50% again. If they don't know what the hell they're doing, you're still going to get it right half the time. So I can roiv people make a mistake. Some people know what's going on. But roiv people make a mistake. It's a ridiculous time of Tosfos. But it's really what he's saying is roiv people, when they're coming to give Adus and Beistin and they're out by one day, roiv of those cases isn't that they're making false testimony. The roiv of those people that they're one out in the day. Because roiv people don't make a mistake. But when you have everything else lines up and they're just one day out because of it, that's because you have this one difference. Now, so Tosfos here is referring back to that Tosfos over there for a second answer. Now here the Toomin, one aids but based in. So I and the Urim, so the Urim and the Toomin are two halves of the same thing that I brought. The Sma, the Atur, the Rambam, the Kol Zman Shelo Nichro Edusan Motzi Lachzer Bo. So the whole time you were able to be hozer. There's no din of hozer umagid until the end of the Chakiras. The whole time you're in based in, you're able to be hozer. And it's only once you leave Beis Din or Beis Din makes Pesachim, what you're saying, that's when you can have the Beis Yosef, Techei Niyamam Medever Yerushalmi, and the Tosefta. So everyone's saying, like the Rambam, that you can wait until the end of your testimony, and then you can be, up until that point, you be Chozer Magid. And Tama, how can you close your eyes, don't remember, under your mouth, under your Tahor Lashon, the Tosfos is Choychim. So you're not able to be hozer even while you're doing the chakiras and the drishas. So Ganar Tosfos is saying, but he's asking during the chakiras, that's when you really have a problem of hozer magid. So how can we just all close our eyes to this? Psachim, daf yod alav hamabais. We've seen that. So betois different happens ze yad hekshu the perach ben tzorim or yalaf gemar daslin and bedin and afash poser ruva. Yemahai de kam ahadi. I feel a loy keven liyom hashabas keven shekavar amar yom chodesh have chodesh umagid mein sham. Ve'ilu svarle ketur Rambam de toch drisha v'chakir shechol nachzor. So again, this is the sheet of the Torah and the Rambam. That during the Jerisha and the Chakira, you're able to be Chozer. And Malkim L'chol Devrayim. There's no point that Tosfos is asking this question, but Klal. The ha'ach be'eza yom b'Shabbos u'b'ziz yom b'chodesh. It's part of the 7 Chakiras, Shunis b'Mishnah. V'chol zman shelo nishlam Chakiras. All the time that you're not finished doing the Chakiras, you're able to be Chozer v'loimer. V'yal korach etzarech loimer delos v'aralei l'hach v'tzarech. So the Tumim, it goes like Tosfos and is a tzarech ian. So we have a maklokas Rishonim between the Tosfos and the Rambam. Now we have the Tumim taking the side of the Tosfos. Now the Nesivos doesn't like what the Tumim is saying. So I in the Sma.
Sorry, can we just go over quickly?
But if you say that
So the Nesivus says that the Sma Demidi the boy Derisha Chakiri Cholakzer Bo Koidem Shinikba Chakiris. You're able to be Choizer beforehand. So again, that's not like Toisus. It's not like the Tumim. V'ayin the Tumim Sheheksha. So he says, we say with that your Cheskasu Afilo Loi Yikavenu Yom Shabbos Given Shkavar Omru Yom HaChodesh Choizer Umagid. So it's called Choizer Magid, like the Samuchah from the Delafilo, but David the boy Derish Vachagir Eno Yachol Lakser Bo Ayin Sham. So that's kind of everything we're saying up to now. But lo yadati my kashi. Like what's his kashi? The vadai from the kashi of Toisus is muchach gain. So the Nesiv is going to say something a bit funky here, but he's saying up here in the kashi tema, in the tema, that's for sure what he's holding. So he's holding that in the kasha. Val akash tirtzu Toisus sham. Eza yom v'zel shon kevin design chakiris yofi mikro. So this is going in the first teretz here. Kevin design mikros yalfin mikroi. Sarek shaloi yechashish zedze v'lo yechashish atzman. Yafe pesok Rambam. The Kevin she riba rachmana kashem machish atzman b'chakirus yachol levatal ediso ein bo misham choizer umagid. So this is the Nesivus is learning the teretz Taisus that the teretz Taisus is going like the Rambam. That in the Havamina, during the Hekirs, you can't be Choizer Magid. In the Teretz, he said we wait until the end of it. Now, it's not so clear how he's getting this in Toisvus. Given Shariba Rachmona, Kashmichas Atzmo, Bechakirus, Yachol Levatel Edus of Ein Bo Misham Choizer Magid. You're able to be Mevatel. So, Lo Yechushu Zedze, but Shalo Yechushu Et Atzman. I mean, so therefore, that Taisus is saying here, there's a Gezeres HaKosov that says that you have to keep on going. But does that mean that therefore it's not called it's not called Choizer Magid? I don't know if not necessarily you could say that in Taisus. You have to say that in Taisus. And clearly the Tumim is not saying that in Taisus. Because you can't makshir atzma beguf halva b'toch hakirus dechi ala atas she'im yachzur v'yagen shelo yita halva b'oitzo yom v'yayit shahisa halva b'yom acher. So the Nesivus now. So v'shaper kosu toisus b'splachim gam b'daf. So the Nesivus is going like the Rambam. The Tumim is going like Toisvus. We have a Maklokus Achroinim also in the same idea of what we have in the Maklokus Rishonim. Now the Ritva Amarle Rabba. So in the Ritva, this is in Kesovas Yud Chesem Abes. Amarle Rabba Kevin Heg Tshuva and Hozer Magid. So he's going in the Gemara there. Yesha Pirshu but to Toisvus Taha Tanafkalam idechtiv im lo yagid v'nosa avono. So this is the posuk. So the Ritva is now going to learn the time of why is there such a thing of kevin shahagashun in a chozer magid, because we have the posuk im lo yagid v'nosa avono. He doesn't say it and he carries his sin. The Islam le midrash kevin shelo hegid shuva in a chozer magid. So im lo yagid, then it's a sin. So Kevan Shalo Hagid, since he didn't, Kevan Shalo Hagid, it's a sin. Shuva Eino Choizer Magid, he can't do it again. Kadoshina Gava Yibam Asher Lo Yibaneh. So by Yivamus, we say you will not build up the house as Beis Achiv. Kevan Shalo Ben Shuv Lo Yibaneh. So this is the idea of doing the Chalitza, that if he doesn't do the Yibum, then he can never do the Yibum. So Im Lo Yagid, then he'll never yet get in the future. So it's a drasha there, just like if you don't do Yibum, you can't do Yibum in the future. If you don't do the Haggadah, you can't do the Haggadah in the future. Therefore, whatever you say now, then you can't. Then that's all you can say. And whatever you don't say now, you can't say in the future. The Acherim Pirishus. We have a second reason of why if you say you are allowed to be choizer magid, lo timse korban b'shavuos ha'edus la'olam choizer magid. You can never find, basically, Beis Din aren't able to do anything ever, Because already I come to Beis Din and I say A killed B. They're about to kill B, and I say, oh yeah, I was just joking. They're about to kill A, and I say, no, I was just joking. I come in and I say A stole from B, and then A pays the money to B, and I come back and I say, yeah, I was just joking. It wasn't really true or whatever. Beis Din isn't able to act if there's a hozer umagid. The carvel is a parish. Rashi says that ein a hozer umagid. The gabi edus chada hagada imlo yagid velo neir dechiv shavua edus ein ela b'misha katav edusov velo hagid. Because he's given other reasons. But basically, we have two reasons why we have this din of giving hagid shuv ein a hozer umagid. One is that it's a posuk, and two that it's a svara. The pasuk is telling me that if I don't yagid, now I've lost my chance to yagid. Now if I say it in the future, I've lost that ability. Therefore, whatever I say now, the chal's the edus, as someone would say, chal the edus, and therefore I can't now come and change the edus. Or it's a svara, and if it's a svara, so therefore once I give my edus, the basin have to work off that edus. And if I keep on changing my edus, so therefore every psak of basin is a joke. So now if we have those two svaras, so therefore which svara works out for who? So l'chayra, the Rambam, who says that it has to be after your hakeres and your drishas. So there you're in Beis Din. Since if the Rambam goes according to svara, that Beis Din can't do anything if you keep on changing your edus. So for the whole time that you're there in Beis Din, giving your edus, you can change it. And then then once they give a psak, you've given your edus, they give a psak on your edus. Now you can't change it anymore, because if you change it, then Beis Din isn't able to do anything. So therefore it kicks in the svara of Kevin Shahagid Shuv Vein Hozer Magid. If you go like the Rambam, that you say the edus the whole way until the end of the edus, then the Beis Din then makabels your edus at the end of the chakirs and the drishas, and everything you say to Beis Din, now they tell you to leave the Beis Din, now you can't come back and change your edus. But if you're going that it's a gezeres hakosov, so therefore that's how it is. The Torah is makbid. That b'toch day dibur, then there is you can't be hozer magid because that's the pasuk. So since it's the pasuk, then there's no svara, and therefore you're just not able to be hozer magid. So for whatever you say in Beis Din, b'toch day dibur, there's no hozer magid. Okay, so we say that maybe he passes like Rabbi Yehuda because Amar Rav Damar Ki Haitan this is why he passes like Rabbi Yehuda Tanan. So the 14th it's on Shabbos. So you remove all the chametz before Shabbos, and then you burn the truma, tameas, teluyas, v'tahiras. And we have three types. Tame, you burn. Teluyas is that you don't know if it's going to be, if it's safek, if it's kosher, or safek if it's safek if it's tahor, safek if it's tamei. And then tahor, again, for sure you shouldn't be burning the tahor, because tahor you can't burn, but because it's Pesach, so you do it before Shabbos, and you leave over from the tahirus. So then you eat the two meals. This is what we dealt with the Sudashi shit. In order that you have until the 4th hour. That's the Rabbi Eliezer ben Yehuda. So they said to him, the tahirus lo yisrafu shema yimasamim lahen oichlin. So here again he said three things. The tameas you don't burn. You should burn. The teluyas you burn as well, because you can't eat it because it's a safek. So really, for the teluyas, for the safek, you have to wait until it gets before it gets tamei properly, and then you can burn it. But here you're going to burn those anyway. And the tahirus, they said these tahirus here, the tahirus you shouldn't burn because maybe you'll find an eater for them if you find an eater for them on the Shabbos. So Amar Lahen Kavar Bakshu Velo Matzu. So they already looked for people and they didn't find. So here in the Rashi. So here the Torah's law is klal. Don't burn the Torah's klal, since it's not the right time to burn them, even though there is a shir kedei la'anshi beito shel kohen. So you've left over enough for your whole house. So what's this? What are you going to eat? Shemayim Kohanim Oichrim. Maybe you'll have a Kohen who's a guest and feed him that. Sheyochlim v'lo nifsed truma b'yadayim. You won't destroy the truma b'yadayim because maybe you'll have an oreach who's a Kohen, and if you don't find them tomorrow to the dogs of the Kohanim, or you will you batel them, or you give them to the dogs. So again, here you have the idea that you're getting hana from giving it to your dogs on Shabbos. So kavar bikshu v'lo motzu. Kloimer kol ma sheyesh lo levakesh kavar bikesh. So again, if you're living in a multinational city, so you don't really know who's going to be there at any given time. However, in those days, there was, you're living in a town, and people come to your town, and you kind of know who's coming in, and they've already sorted out everybody who is coming or not, and they find out that nobody else is coming. Shabbos lo yevu orchim, because on Shabbos itself, the new orchim aren't going to come. So they already checked out the whole town to see if any other kohanim are going to come, and they're not coming, and people from outside the town isn't going to happen. So all the kohanim that are in the city, they know if they're going to come or not. And anyone outside the city can't come because it's Shabbos, and you can't go outside the tachum. So therefore they say to him, so he turns back that he's already checked already. Kavar bikshu v'lo motzu. They already looked into all the kohanim if they're going to come or not. If there's no kohanim are going to come. Amru lo shema chutz lechoima lanu. So maybe the guy is inside the tachum, but he slept outside the walls. So he came in like late on Erev Shabbos. He got inside the tachum and then he slept over there. So Loshin Malon Shema betoch tachum lanim kohanim orchim halayla v'yavo lamachar. So they're going to come tomorrow. So they're inside the 2,000 amos, but they're outside the city, and then tomorrow they're going to come. So don't burn it. Maybe this is going to happen. So Amar lahem. So he said to them. So according to you, af teluyis lo yisrofu shema yavo Eliyahu v'yitarhem. So now we go back here to this idea. So the tamei you got to burn. The teluyis safek tahor safek tamei. And the tahor. So they're saying, no, you don't need the tahor. Let's get even something that's very rochok. What's very rochok? People you don't know are sleeping outside the walls, and they're going to come in and eat it. So no one knows about it, but let's just be worried about it anyway. So he says also the teluyas. Why don't we, after teluyas, lo yisrofu? Maybe Eliyahu will come and he will matahar them. How's he going to matahar them? He's going to tell you this is suffix. It's not suffix tamik, because before klape shemaya, it's not suffix. There's an emes out there. It's either tahor or it's tamei. So they'll tell you to burn it if it's tamei and eat it if it's tahor. So according to you, we're choishish for this rachuk. So therefore Eliyahu will come. Let's not burn the tuliyus. Why are you burning the tuliyus? So Rashi, afle devreichen, the chayshina l'shema amai lo peliktu ela b'tahoris. Why are you only arguing on the tahoris? Even the tuliyas you shouldn't burn before his mano. Maybe Eliyahu will come today or tomorrow. Kodim zman biur before the time of biur, and he will tahor them. V'yomer lo nega bahem tuma v'yachulim. So he says v'lo naga bahem tuma means that they're tahor. Or she just says something interesting here. He says, Yavo Eliyahu hayom or machar. What day is hayom and what day is machar?
Tomorrow, Shabbos.
Huh? What day is hayom?
Hayom is Erev Shabbos.
Erev Shabbos on Friday.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow on Shabbos.
Right, it doesn't make any sense, yeah.
No, but what's it? Here, if hayom Erev Shabbos. So... Amru lo, they said back to him, Kavar mutaf lehem li Yisrael, she'en Eliyahu ba, lo ba'arvi Shabbatos, v'lo ba'arvi Yomim Tovim. Right, mipnei ha-toreach. So, he's not going to come, Eliyahu's not going to come, not on Erev Shabbos, and not on Erev Yom Tov because of the toreach. So today, so hayom is Erev Shabbos, v'lamachar Erev Yom Tov. Mipnei ha-toreach, she'yesh lehen la'isek b'sudas Shabbos. So there's I think in the other Gemara, Rashi says that they are going to be oisek in the Kabbalah's panov of Eliyahu, and therefore they're going to miss the tareach of the Suda, so the Suda won't be ready. Sugis in Erevin. So that the Jews will be oisek in Kabul Panov. So I don't really understand what that means. If Eliyahu comes tomorrow, like what are you going to do? You can stand in a row and say hello. Like, why can't you eat? Why can't you prepare your lunch? Because
we're all gonna go to a stadium and say the brachos together.
what brachas? You're gonna be a couple panav. Don't say you're gonna be doing it. You're gonna be a couple panav. You're gonna give him kavod. He's guy. The hours comes, so you're gonna stop what you're doing. You're gonna go out and you're gonna couple panav. You're gonna go see him. You want to go whatever. I don't know, but why does that stop you making your meal? So, Amru lo zazu misham ad shekavo halacha k'Rebbe Eliezer ben Yehuda. So that's Ish Bar Susa. So because he's not going to come on the, so they did halacha that it's till the 4th hour. You see up here when he says ad dalet shalos. So therefore they agree with him because of this. Eliyahu's not isn't going to come. Now the Marsha asks a question here. This is here in Psachim. Perish Rashi. Ksakasha Kevin the Erev Yom Tov Lemachar b'Shabbos. So Eliyahu's not going to come Erev Shabbos and not in Erev Yom Tov. Why is he not going to come on Erev Shabbos? Because you're preparing the meal for Shabbos. He's not going to come on Erev Yom Tov because you're preparing the meal for Yom Tov. But where Davka talking about Erev Yom Tov is Shabbos. Who ma shaykh bo mipnei toreach? What's the toreach? You're not preparing for any meals on Shabbos Erev. So again, Friday is Erev Shabbos. You're getting ready for everything. Then Shabbos is Erev Pesach. Everything's done already. The Seder's done. You just gotta wait. You gotta put some matzahs together. So there's no toreach because it's Shabbos. Daha vadai iser lo toreach mi Shabbos liyom tov. So you can't even saucer. So now Marsha brings in this whole thing that if you have that if Eliyahu Novi is flying in, whatever that means, if he's flying in, so then there's a Tanchumim above 10, therefore he can't come in on Shabbos because then he's traveling during the Tochum. Elsewhere. So the Marsha is doichek and saying basically it's a maklokas as to whether there is this tachum above 10 tefachim, and if there is, since that's where Eliyahu is traveling, so therefore he can't come. But if there isn't a tachum over 10, so then why can't he come on Shabbos Erev Pesach? Where's the toreach? So the slach. Again, the slach is the Noida Bi Yehuda. So Kod Kavar Muvtach. Hine Be'erev Yom Tov. Shechal B'Shabbos Leika Toreach. V'im Kain, Akati Shem Yevo Eliyahu L'Machar. Okay, so this is the question of V'ayim B'Marsha. So that's this question. Yushalmi Risi She'en Eliyahu Ba B'Shabbatos. V'ayim Marsha. So Yushalmi says that Eliyahu is not going to come on Shabbos. So again, it seems to here the Aaron Marsha is the same idea that because this whole tachum thing. Ube'emes boi delo ifshet be'ervin. It's a question. This idea of the 10 tefachim above. Is there a tachum above 10 tefachim? It's a question that never got an answer in Erevin. Daf mem gimel yesh tachum lemala mi'asara. Is there a tachumim above 10 or not? Vereisi etoisves in Erevin. This Devrei Maskell that wrote the Hahi Sheheshiv Kavar Muftach Lishol Shein Ba B'Shabbos of Lo Be'erev Shabbos Lo Be'erev Tavtov Hakavana Degam B'Shabbos Shayach Torech Suda Shabbos. On Shabbos it's still Shayach the Torech of Shabbos. Koidim Sheyachol Suda Shachris. So you haven't had your Suda Shachris, so you got to set the table. I don't know what do you do to prepare your Suda Shachris on Shabbos. I mean, you have, you either go to someone's house, so you have to walk there, or you come home and there's nothing on the table. You set the table, you get a couple of wines. It takes you a few minutes to sort it out. So he says with the Vrehim Dachoikim, it's a Daichek Teretz, all Toises there. So he's saying that according to the way that Toises is answering, that on Shabbos you are working for Shabbos And that Eliyahu is not going to come on Shabbos. That's Taicha, because our Gersa says Erev Shabbos, for Erev Tayim. Therefore, and he's like the Rebbe Eliezer Hekshel Rechem. So really, Rebbe Eliezer is talking to the people who were saying to him, after Luyas Lo Yisrafu, that they're saying that even that the suffix truma you don't burn. Shem Yevo Eliyahu, Ainu Lamachar, the Shabbos, the Leiko Toreach. So the whole question's only on Shabbos because there's no Toreach, because when we Shema Yevo Eliyahu, Eliyahu's not going to come on Erev Shabbos and Erev Yontiv. Aye, but Erev Yontiv, that is Shabbos, he can't come because there is Toreach. Ela Sha'akati Yesh La'oisram Mishum Muksa. But still, even though he comes and he matters them, they're still Muksa. So you have Truma Safek, and that happens on Friday night. You have the Truma Safek, you don't know. So something happened to me. Maybe it got touched by something Tamei on Tuesday. So it's just Safek, Truma, and you would keep it Safek Truma until it becomes Tumei Vadai. But Pesach is coming, so you got to get rid of it. So on Erev Shabbos, it's just all your Tuma Tamei or Tuma Teluya is Muksa. Do you really thinking that Eliyahu is going to come? So since that it's out of your mind that Eliyahu is going to come, then if it's Safek Truma, you're not going to eat it on Shabbos. Since you're not going to eat it on Shabbos, therefore it's Muksa. And you don't have in mind that Eliyahu is not going to come. Why not? That Eliyahu can only come, the Mashiach can only come with Hesach Das. So you can't have Das. Oh yeah, Eliyahu is going to come, and therefore this isn't Muksa because I know Eliyahu is going to come and he's going to tahar it. No, it only comes with Hesach Das. Therefore it has to be that it's Muksa because you're not thinking he's going to come. And since it's Safek, and Safek you can't touch, you can't eat, therefore already when Shabbos comes in, it's already Muksa. Muksa ben Hashmosus is Muksa. Call it ve'etmol ben Hashmosus iksanu midaita umigu the ikasula ben Hashmosus so migu that it became Muksa ben Hashmosus, it's migu the whole day. So even if Eliyahu comes on Shabbos and he matars everything, it doesn't help because it's already Muksa. Since it's already Muksa, so you still have to you should still burn the taliyas on the previous day, even if Eliyahu comes on Shabbos where there is no Torah. It's not going to help anyway. So that's their teretz, but Rabbi Eliezer himself holds like Rabbi Shimon Talisle Muksa. So it's a whole the Chachamim Hashevu Rabbi Yehuda. So the Chacham, so Rabbi Eliezer is saying. Now we both the Rosh Hashanah says that we hold by Rabbi Shimon there is no muksa. You got to see what that means lemaisa. But basically, there's tons of muksa that Rabbi Yehuda holds of that we don't hold of. So Rabbi Eliezer is holding that there's no muksa. Since there's no muksa, then Eliyahu can come on Shabbos and matahar it because there's no muksa. Hachamim say it's not going to help for him to come, and therefore, because there is muksa, they hold like Rabbi Yehuda. And therefore they say, Bishmaim haya Eliyahu yachol avo be'erev Shabbos, lo haya yachol l'sorfim. Shema yavo im ha'shechav yitarim. So, because if he can come erev Shabbos, so then before it's muksa, he can matar them. But Kavan, that we know that he's not going to come on erev Shabbos, came be'erev Shabbos lo yavo, memele iketzel be'nesh Moshe. So he never came on erev Shabbos. Now even if he comes on Shabbos, even if he comes on tomorrow, on Shabbos, it's still also misham muksa. And therefore, because they hold like Rabbi Yehuda, they hold of muksa. So Rabbi Eliezer holds that there is a muksa. That's where he's getting his question from. According to you, it shouldn't be. But they're like, no, it should be because the muksa, but he doesn't hold the muksa, and therefore that's the maklokas. So the Shalos Yeshuv is Chasm Sofer. Avalem is Yerid Darko. So, if he's going to come in this gufo, so Lamala me intend to Tefachim. So when Eliyahu comes, he can't come in his guf above 10 tefachim. But when his neshama is nifrad from his guf, and neshama is oila and is doing business in Shemayim between the Machri Sharis and his guf is stuck in Gan Eden, a Tachton and Lomazeh. And in the day when he comes in and gives the good news about Mashiach, his neshama will be in his guf, a kodesh. And then he's like every man from the Chachamim and the Nevi'im of Yisrael, and he is musmach mirabo achia shloni. So he has this is where he gets it from Moshe Rabbeinu. So he has the musmach, because we just have a shaila with the whole time of Mashiach, is that you need to have a Sanhedrin, you need to have smicha, all this type of stuff. Well, Eliyahu is already musmach, and he's going to come into his guf. His guf is going to come, so therefore he's already Achim Shloni or Moshe Rabbeinu. They're going to give him smicha, or he's Pinchas and he's Yismoch, the Chachamei Yisrael, and then he has the din like all the Bnei Yisrael, and every time that he is Matgale and he is saying in Olam Hazeh, he's in his guf. Hazach ach k'shemagala b'nishmato kamo b'yom hamila. So when he comes during a mila, he's not in his guf. He doesn't come in the guf form. He comes in his neshama form, and then he's not mechoyev in mitzvahs, because he's like b'meisim chavshi katsev. So he's like a dead man, and therefore he's potter from mitzvahs. So when he comes and he gives the story of the coming of the Mashiach. And then, so therefore in his guf, he can give a psak. When he's in his neshama, he can't give a psak. Lo b'shamayim he. If Eliyahu comes to a bris, he's there as a neshama. And therefore he can't give a psak, is this truma, tame is a tahor. He can't give a psak because lo b'shamayim he. And he's also not chayav a mitzvah, so he doesn't have to worry about the tachum. So therefore he can go to all different brisses all over the place. Because so again, the whole din of Tanchum is not shaykh because he's not in his guf, he's as a neshama. Because so when he reveals himself in his neshama without the guf, there he's like a malach. So even if he's there and he's giving you halachas and he's giving you, it doesn't matter. Lo b'shamayim he. So it's like a dream, ruach, it's like a baskol. But when he reveals himself in his guf, now he's like the Gedolei Chachamim Yisrael, and he will answer the kashas. And if you'll hear him, ki mi, anyone's like him, is Moira Kusharoyu, in the basic avurus of the Goyim, Lav Kohen Mar At. So whenever you have stories in the Gemara where Eliyahu reveals himself in his guf, but like in the Mila, he doesn't reveal himself in his guf, he's revealing himself as a neshama. So when he's in his guf, he gets all the dinim and he poskin halacha like him, and he's chayv mitzvahs. And therefore, when he reveals himself as he's in the guf, he says, you're a Kohen. How can you do this? Now again, this is it may not be this story, but there's an important story of Eliyahu reveals himself, and he buries Rabbi Akiva, and they say to him, "Why, if you're a Kohen, why are you allowed to bury Rabbi Akiva? You're a Kohen, and he's mace." And then he says that the tzaddikim are not metame, but they're not metame. Therefore, I can bury him. And Tosis there on the page says it's not true that tzaddikim are not metame. Of course, tzaddikim are metame. Therefore, why did Eliyahu say that tzaddikim are not metame? And he answers that the reason that no one else buried Rabbi Akiva was because the Romans said that we're going to kill anyone who touches him, and therefore Rabbi Akiva was a meis mitzvah, and it's a bezoyin. As the answer, so the answer was that it was mutter for him to bury him because Rabbi Akiva was a meis mitzvah. But it's a bezoyin to Rabbi Akiva to say that he's a meis mitzvah. The Gadol B'Yisrael, no one's going to bury him, is a bezoyin. So therefore, Eliyahu couldn't give the correct answer that because he's a meis mitzvah, because that's a bezoyin. And therefore, l'choved Rabbi Akiva, he said that it's because tzaddikim are not metame. And now a lot of people see this Gemara or heard that or tell people that, tzaddikim, Kohanim can metame themselves to tzaddikim, but it's all shtiyut. But here, the point being is that when Eliyahu is in his guf, then lav Kohen mar, lav Kohen mar, you're not a Kohen, therefore you can't be metame. Az nitkale b'lavush gufo, because that's when he's in his guf. When he's in his guf, he has the chiyuvim of a Kohen. So if he reveals himself as a neshama, so then he doesn't have to. He can do what he wants because he's patur from mitzvahs. So further on, he says, "Masha hoksha or b'tori evin, Eichiyavo ben David barosh Hashana halo ati ela mietmol dienu ba ba'arvei Shabbatos v'yamim tovim ayin sham." So this is a question like our question. Yishlomer ha my tamen lo ati Eliyahu de lo liturdi b'kabbalas panav. Again, here's the idea that it's the tirda of the kabbalas panav. So he's only going to come for he's not going to come. So he doesn't matrid us with the kabbalas panav. V'lo yichal, and we are not able to prepare the Yom Tov meal. Ha Rabbi Zakaiman tisfar le Psachim perach elu devarim. The Yom Tov lo boy lechem. So there we have the idea of the Yom Tov. Do you need to make for yourself? Do you do it? Is it your day? Is it God's day? Ki yemo kulu lashem. V'im kem ba'arvi Shabbatos lo ati ale de b'Shabbos kule amamudi de boy nami lechem. V'tev kral Shabbos oineg. V'kamakom be'erev Yom Tov. Yavo Rabbi Eliezer v'yafsher me'atayim agufa pligi Rabbi Shuva lo yelef gezer Shabbos shaper. So really, according to what the Chazon Sofer is saying, then to kind of answer our question, is that when Eliyahu comes during to, he's going to hear, he's going to come in order to give us the stories and tell us that Mashiach is coming, and therefore he's going to come in his guf in order to do this. And since he's going to come in his guf, so therefore that the Tachumim replies to him, and therefore the Tachumim applies, and therefore he can't come on Shabbos because he can't travel outside the Tachum, even though on for a Mila or for other things which he turns up to without his guf, therefore he can travel all over the world, no problem. It doesn't affect him. So it's really a kind of side answer, because then according to the Tzalach, he's saying everywhere it says he can come on Shabbos because it's Erev Pesach, and therefore there's no tirda. You hear what the Chazon Sofer is saying, that if he comes in his guf, he has the issues of the halacha of the Tachumim. It's only now when he's on his guf that he doesn't have those tirdas and these issues.